foreign exchange contract in 1152-56 in Genoa. The earliest known foreign exchange contract, two brothers borrowed 115 Genoese pounds and they agreed to the reimburse the bank's agents and the Constantinople the sum of the 460 Byzants 1 month after their arrival in that city. In the following century, the use of such an contracts grew rapidly, particularly since profits from time differences were seen as not infringing canon laws against usuries. Italian banker in a 14th century manuscripts depicting bankers in Italian counting house. The first bank was establishing in Venice with the guarantee from the state in 1157. According to the Maccardy, this was due to the commercial agency of the Venetian acting in the interest of the crusaders of the Pope Urban II. The reason is given commercial agency. uh, the reason is given the elsewhere as due to the cost of the expansion of the empire under Dogi waited to Mikhail and to receive the subsequent financial burden on the Republic. A forced loan was made necessary to this. The chamber of the loan was created to the manage to the affair of the forced loan as the loan re- repayment at 4% interest changes in the enterprises of the chamber. Firstly by the commencing of the use of discounting exchange and later by the recipient of the deposited. They are developed the functioning of the organization into the Bank of Venice with the initial capital of the 5 million ducats. In any case, banking practices proper began into the mid parts of the 12th century and continue until the bank was caused to cease to operate during the French invasion of the 1797. The bank was the first national bank to have been established within the boundaries of the Europe. There were banking failures from the 1255 to 1262. In the middle of the 13th century, groups of Italian Christians, and particularly the Inquisitions and Lombards, invented legal functions to get around the ban and Christian usury. For example, one method of effecting a loan with the interest was to offer money without interest, but also required that the loan is insured against the possible losses and injuries and delays in repayment. The Christians effecting these legal fictions become known as the Pope usuries and reduce the importance of a Jewish to European monarchs. Later in the Middle Ages, a distinction evolved between the things that were consumable, such as food and fuel, and those that were not, with usury permitted on loans that involved the latter. Coat of arms for the Medici family. The most powerful banking families came from the Florissants, including the Aquileus, Mozzi, Berti, and Peruzzi families, which established branches in many other parts of the Europe. Probably the most famous Italian bank was the Medici Bank, set up by the Giovanni di Bicci de' Medici in 1397 and continuing until 1494. Banca Monte di Paschi di Siena SPA, Italy, is in fact the oldest banking organization to have surviving banking operation or services. It was Italian banker that would take their place, and by 1327 Avignon had 43 branches of the Italian banking house. In 1347 Edward III of the England defaulted on loans. Later there was the bankruptcy of the Bardi and Peruzzi. The accompanying growth of Italian banking in France was the start of the Lombard money changer in the Europe who moved from city to city along the busy pilgrimage routes important for trade. Key states in this period were courts and birthplace of the Pope John XII and Figes of usury from Brent, Sutton, Stultifer, Navis, woodcut attributed to the Albuquerque Duris. By the later Middle Ages, Christian merchants who lent money with the interest were without opposition, and Jews lost their privileged position as a money lender. After 1400, political forces did in fact somewhat turn against the method of the Italian free enterprises bankers In 1401, King Martin I of the Aragon had some of these bankers expelled. In 1403, Henry IV of England prohibited them from taking profit in any way in his kingdom. In 1409, Flanders imprisoned and then expelled Genoese bankers. In 1410, all Italian merchants were expelled from the Paris. In 1407, the Bank of St. George, the first state bank of the deposits, was founded in the Genoa and was to dominate businesses in the Mediterranean.